I walked away from a 25-year career in IT, chasing freedom and meaning, something more than just working for a paycheck and helping corporations make more money. I thought I was finally free, but just months after I quit, I got the call. The cancer had come back, and suddenly everything changed again. This is the story of how my search for purpose led me to a healing journey I never expected, not just of the body, but of the soul. For over 25 years, this was my world. Managing teams, meeting clients, leading projects, and solving problems. I was good at it. I knew the systems, I knew the people, and on paper, everything looked successful. But inside, I was slowly unraveling. The days blended together, deadlines, updates, another quarter, another goal. It wasn't just the grind, it was the emptiness behind it. And then came the moment that changed everything. My manager asked me to do something I couldn't fully stand behind. It wasn't illegal, but it just didn't feel right. A decision that would have made the company more money, but at the expense of transparency, of honesty, of people. I pushed back. I asked questions, but the answer I got was clear. Just get it done. That moment hit me like a brick. I realized I had spent years compromising little pieces of myself in the name of being a team player, of doing what's expected, and now I couldn't do it anymore. It was more than burnout. It was the feeling that I was living someone else's life, and it was time to walk away. I sat there staring at my resignation email. My heart was racing, not because I didn't know what to say, but because I knew once I hit send, everything would change. After more than 20 years, I was about to walk away from my career, from the security, the title, the salary, from the identity I'd built for myself. But the truth was, I had already left inside. I had checked out months ago, maybe years ago, and that moment with my manager, it lit a fire. I realized, if I stay, I'll lose myself. And if I leave, maybe I'll finally find out who I really am. So I did it. I quit. I didn't have another job lined up, no backup plan, just a feeling in my gut that I couldn't ignore anymore. A quiet voice saying, "It's time." In the months after I quit, I felt something I hadn't felt in a long time. Space, stillness. I could breathe again. I didn't know what was next, but for the first time in years, that didn't scare me. It actually felt exciting. And then I got a call from my doctor. There's some activity that showed up in my scans again. The cancer was back. Just like that, everything shifted. The freedom I just stepped into was now filled with appointments, tests, decisions, fears. I had walked away from the corporate world, hoping to find myself, and instead I found myself face to face with my own mortality. But in that silence, something unexpected started to rise. Not just fear, but a question. What if this was all part of it? Part of my path back to me, not just healing my body, but healing something deeper. I didn't know what to think. Part of me was angry. I had finally taken the leap, followed my intuition, and now this, it felt cruel, like the universe was punishing me. But then something inside me whispered, "This isn't the end. This is the beginning." I started to ask different questions, not just, how do I beat this? But, why is this here? What is my body trying to say? What is this trying to teach me? What if healing is more than medicine? I didn't reject conventional treatment, but I also knew I needed to go deeper, into energy, into belief, into the emotional wounds I'd carried for years, maybe decades, into the part of me I had silenced to survive the systems I was in. This wasn't just about healing cancer. It was about becoming whole. And for the first time in a long time, I was listening. I started to see things differently. The body isn't just a machine that breaks down. It's intelligent. It speaks through symptoms, signals, and sensations. And for most of my life, I had been too busy to listen. So I slowed down. I began meditating every morning, not to escape, but to tune in. I started visualizing my body healing, cell by cell. I explored breathwork, energy medicine, sound, vibration, and frequency. I dove into the work of Dr. Joe Dispenza, Bruce Lipton, and Greg Braden, people who spoke about the body's natural ability to heal when the mind and spirit are in alignment. I cleaned up my environment, physically, mentally, energetically. I became more intentional with the food I ate, the thoughts I allowed, the energy I gave and received. I realized healing isn't about fighting the illness. It's about creating the conditions where wellness can rise. And slowly, I began to feel it. Not just a shift in my body, but a return of something I hadn't felt in years. Power, not control over, but connection to myself, to life, to something greater. If you're watching this, maybe part of this story feels familiar. Maybe you've been stuck in a job that drains you. Maybe you've been chasing success, ticking all the boxes, but still feel empty. Or maybe you've been handed a diagnosis, something that shook your world and made you question everything. I just want you to know you are not alone. You're not broken, and your body, your soul, is far more powerful than you've ever been told. We live in a world that teaches us to ignore our intuition, to override our needs, to grind, hustle, and suppress until we're numb. But there's another way, a way of listening, of healing, of coming home to yourself. I'm not here to tell you what to do. I'm not a guru. I'm not a doctor. I'm just someone who got tired of living in fear and started choosing to live in truth. This journey cracked me open, and what poured out was a vision I never saw coming. I realized that maybe I wasn't meant to just heal in silence. Maybe part of my healing is sharing it, speaking out, showing others that there's another way. So I'm building this channel, not just to tell my story, but to explore healing, consciousness, energy, intuition, to document what's working, what's not, and to remind us all that we are more powerful than we've been led to believe. This isn't the end of the story, it's the beginning of a new one where I don't just survive, I create, I serve, I heal. And maybe you'll walk this path with me too. If any part of this story spoke to something inside you, then maybe it's not a coincidence you're here. This channel is a place for healing, for awakening, for rebuilding a life that actually feels like yours. I'll be sharing everything I learn, from energy healing and holistic health, to spiritual practices, mindset shifts, and real conversations about what it means to live with purpose. Not as an expert, not as someone with all the answers, but as someone walking the path right alongside you. So if you're feeling called, hit subscribe. Join me on this journey. Let's remember who we really are. Let's heal together.